What's up, guys? Luca here. Luca Teal, yes, the Ashen one, the Ashen Lucario, the Ashen Luca. It's me. I'm here with another episode of the show. And today we will be discussing a variety of things. And by variety, I mean like two things, right? Oh, I just realized I forgot to put the channel member topics up. Oh my goodness, guys. My bad. I've been so focused on playing Shadow of the Erdtree that it completely slipped my mind. Ooh, my bad, my bad, my bad. I'll put it up during the show if anybody wants to contribute during. If not, that's completely okay, right? But yeah, so this has been a fantastic week so far because Shadow of the Erdtree dropped. Shadow of the Erdtree came out, and this is all I've been looking forward to for like the last couple of months, honestly speaking. So my will to live has finally returned to me, and I am excited to say and happy to say that the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC is absolutely fantastic so far. Other than that, we will be discussing the alleged reason why Dr. Disrespect was banned from Twitch. We finally found out 4 years later, and the reason, it's not a good reason. It's actually the allegations are very serious, and his initial response to them were not very it wasn't very, how do I say, it didn't instill a lot of trust, I suppose you could say. It didn't instill a lot of hope. But there's not a lot of ways that you can really respond to the kind of allegations that he was hit with. So, we're gonna get into that. But the major and the bulk of the channel's topics today will be on Shadow of the Erdtree and how much I am absolutely loving it. But before we get into that, hello, Singer.
What up?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
It's good. That is definitely very good. I'm glad that you're doing good. What have you been up to lately?
Just playing through the Trail series again. I'm up to Trails of Cold Steel 3, ready in anticipation for the new game launching next month. So that's really hype. So I want to get back in the mood, familiar myself with the story, etc. And I re-downloaded Elden Ring because I'm gonna finish it, and then at some point in the future get the Erdtree expansion at some point. I mean, the end of the year is looking sticky, so I
Yeah,
might
man,
just
it's
wait for a
looking
Steam sale
it's
on
looking
the.
tight. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll probably just wait for a Steam sale probably early next year and pick it up on the cheap then, because I'm pretty sure nothing. I say this, but nothing will release in January, February that I'll be interested in. Now
Yeah.
we know that's not going to come true, and there's going to be something releasing because last year was like that, and this year. So I mean, but there's just way too many games I'm interested in this year. So I'll find time to finish Elden Ring, and then figure out how I'm going to fit in the DLC.
I hear you on that. Okay, so what's up, Lionel? What's up, Arcade? What's up, Gregor? What's up, the Sly Crow? Luke, I've been hearing the DLC's been kicking people's asses. Well, it's certainly been kicking mine. It's been kicking my ass too. What's up, Ripper? Yeah, yeah. It's definitely been kicking my ass. But that sounds like a plan, Singer. One of my friends actually just started getting into Elden Ring, and it was funny. They were telling me about beating the Beastman of Farah Missoula from the very beginning of the game, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I cheesed the boss, and I just kept hitting it until it died." I'm like, "That's how you play, baby." That is definitely one of the viable ways to play the game. So I am. Hold on, where's my phone? Oh, 1 second. Yeah, that's one of the viable ways to play the game. All right, but yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to talk about my experience with the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. So again, for anyone who isn't aware, I am a big fan of the Souls series. From Software currently is my favorite developer. So far, they have not disappointed me the same way BioWare's disappointed me. Um, the same, yeah, I guess it would just be BioWare. Yeah, the same way BioWare's disappointed me over the last couple of years. So, outside of my general, I guess optimism towards Dragon Age Veilguard, I haven't really been interested in or looking forward to any games coming out, to be honest, other than of course the new Elden Ring DLC. So I've played I've played Demon Souls remake, I've played Bloodborne, I've played Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and I played Sekiro. And more importantly, I beat all of those games, right? So I got the platinum for Demon Souls remake. I got the platinum for Bloodborne. I got the platinum for Elden Ring. I am one achievement off of being completely finished with Sekiro on Xbox, and I beat Dark Souls 3 like 5 times, 4 times on PlayStation, once on Xbox, maybe twice on Xbox, something like that. I don't even know at this point. Beat Dark Souls 2 once, and I'm sure people who've played Dark Souls 2 will know why it was only one time. And then I beat Dark Souls, the first one, and then I played it on the PlayStation 3, it went exactly as you would expect. And then I played the Dark Souls remastered and I beat that, right? So, big fan of these games. I really enjoy these games. I know how these games operate. I am enthused about them, right? So I was looking forward to the DLC not only for the gameplay reasons, but also the lore reasons, and also again a reason for me to live, right? So when I went into the DLC, I am currently on New Game Plus, the first New Game Plus, right? So I beat the game and then I went through it again, right? I'm on New Game Plus, and okay, so I'm on New Game Plus, right? So on my first playthroughs of any Souls game, right, or Souls-like game, I tend to stick towards melee weapons, specifically strength builds, right? Like I am a strength girly at heart. My favorite weapon in the Dark Souls series, that is the Claymore. That is my go-to weapon, and then of course I'll like switch it out with something a little bit more interesting as the game goes on. But typically melee focus with like a couple spells here and there, but it's never the main focus on the build. You know what I'm saying? So my first playthrough of Elden Ring, I beat the game. My go-to, I played with the Claymore, and I tried out a couple of different strength weapons, and I switched permanently to the Ruins Greatsword. The Ruins Greatsword is fucking awesome. That was my main weapon through my first playthrough of Elden Ring, right? So my second playthrough of Elden Ring, I was like, okay, so I have all these larval tears. That's what you use to respec, right? I'm going to play with magic and I'm going to play with faith, right? And I had a lot of fun playing with magic and faith, just running through it. And I didn't take it seriously or anything like that because I was mostly just going around trying to collect everything and just have fun with the game, try out different ways to beat the bosses, right? So when I left off on the game, I was still on my intelligence build. So my stupid ass, I go into the DLC. I'm like la di da. Mind you, I am not someone who is a magic wielder by trade, right? Like that's not where I'm comfortable at, right? I am a brain dead ooga booga, I'm going to bop you with a big weapon sort of girl, right? That's why, in Destiny 2, my favorite character was a Titan. I like to just charge in. Like that's my thing. Like that is my typical play style. This hanging back is difficult for me. I like to trade. I like to trade a lot, or I just like to knock things down. I like to get those staggers in. That's my ideal playthrough, right? But I'm like, okay, well, why don't I just try something different, right? I go into the DLC. I'm on my magic build. I'm like, all right, this is fine so far. I'm kind of running through it. I'm getting hit by a couple enemies. I'm hitting a bunch of enemies. Everything is fine, right? Like everything's going well. And then I meet my first obstacle, which is about 2 seconds into the game, essentially, like 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes into the game. What is? Let's see here, black. What is the Okay, so there's this enemy right at the beginning of the game, right? Okay, the enemy. So slight spoilers for Elden Ring. The enemy's name. The enemy's name is. It's a great enemy actually. So it's a great enemy boss. All right, is the Knight of the Solitary Jail. So it is black the black the black jail knight, right? So I go to fight the black jail knight. And I'm like, okay, cool. So this is gonna be fine, right? And guess what it was? It wasn't fine. It was not fine at all. That dude, he beat my fucking ass multiple times. knocked me down, killed me multiple times. Mind you, I'm on New Game Plus. My level is like 284 or something at this point. My health bar is like ridiculously long. I have 60 vigor. I'm using whose fucking great room am I using? Radon's? I think I'm using Radon's great room. So I'm like, my health bar is pretty beefy. You know what I'm saying? I'm using a Nial's armor set. So my poise is beefy, health bar beefy, right? But he still kills me expa fucking viciously. And by the fifth time that he killed me, I was like, I can't do this shit anymore. I can't do this anymore. This is not how I play this game. I am not a magic wielder. I had to fucking throw my goddamn wand away. I was like, enough with this abra fucking cadabra shit. All right. I got a big hammer. Okay. A great hammer. Smack some fucking blood on that baby. Okay. Put the blood attunement on it. Okay. Put the crag blade on it. And I was like, okay, let's fucking do this then. Went in there, bonked the motherfucker, and I killed him. And after I killed him, I was like, okay, so fucking exactly. I'm not supposed to be playing this game as a magic build. Okay, that's just not how I play. That's fun and all, and it's cute and all. When I already know what I'm doing. If I already know what I'm doing and I've already played the game and I've already experienced everything, then yeah, I'll go through it again with fucking magic, right? But first playthroughs, I have to use a melee weapon because that's just how I fucking brute force that shit, man. I strong arm that shit. So, dude had me switching my fucking build. I actually apparently that guy is like cucking a bunch of people. Like I was not the only one. And I think it was so smart for From Software to have this guy, this boss, right at the very beginning. So they could let you know this shit is not a fucking game. Okay? So it's a game, but this shit is not a fucking game. All right? It doesn't matter what level you are. You will still get cooked if those dodges are not on fucking point, right? The enemies hit hard. So like even the basic enemies are kind of like, okay, this is like they're kind of whatever, right? Especially once I put my fucking great hammer on, I was Gucci, right? But like the bosses, some of the bosses, I was like, "Oh, okay. This is how this is going to be." So for me, it doesn't bother me at all because I saw a couple of people discussing the difficulty. I saw like a journalist talking about like whether or not the difficulty of a game should be factored in on taking points away and everything like that when playing. And my thought process on that kind of question is me personally, um how do I say this? You being a fucking bum at the game doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the game. And it's like, in some instances, I'm like, okay, I completely understand this boss is just unfair. There's this game is unfair. There's like really nothing you can like say for instance, if you get screwed over by like the frame rate or something, right? Or if there's a like okay, I'll give an example of if somebody wants to talk about something that's difficult and unfair and understandable, right? Fucking the bed of chaos from Dark Souls 1. That area is not even complete, right? That boss is like a fucking throw-in boss. That is an if you don't know what you're doing, an extremely frustrating boss to fight, right? But like ultimately, I personally, unless it is like a game-breaking sort of thing, I don't think the difficulty of a game or a DLC, like you being a bum at it, should factor in on the score. Like there's a game, I can't remember what it was. It's one of the Souls likes, right? So like the Souls clones or whatever, like inspired by Souls games. I don't remember which one it was, but I was getting my ass beat. And I was like, oh, I'm probably just a bum at this. All right, cool. And I left it alone, right? I was just like, I'm just not good at this. Therefore, okay, like I'm not good at it. I wouldn't be like, oh my god, it's just unfair. Like I just can't do it, because clearly other people could fucking beat it. There were other people enjoying it and loving it. I was just a fucking bum. So I left. I was like, all right, cool. And I think the biggest issue with some of the game journalists, because don't get me wrong, the DLC scored extremely well, 95, right? Like it got a 95, but like there are definitely some people who will score something lower just because they suck at the game. It's not the game's fault that you suck. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it should take that should be factored in. But what do you think, Slomo? What's up, man?
Hey, what's up? I would say I think it's all balance because there'll be people who will score a game. There'll be journalists that will score a game lower because they're a bum at it and they can't take the difficulty. But then we also got in particular this game where people are just like not even acknowledging the performance issues that some have been introduced in the DLC. Um, like game wide on performance that has basically made it more frustrating when you see massive frame rate drops. Or for the case of myself, I got stuck in the environment. Like I got stuck and then like I couldn't move and then they just killed me. It was just like you did. I was like, the hell? So like little things like that, like collision detection kind of things, and just like the overall performance of it that frankly shouldn't be an issue on PC. There are people who have 4090s, which this game is a cross-gen game that came like that is should be super easy to run on even the current day consoles. And people with 4090s are like, yeah, I'm getting uh unmodded, of course, because it's frame rate capped at 60 FPS. I'm getting 55 frames per second, and my GPU utilization is only at 70%. Like that's on from software for not optimizing their game correctly. And there are people who just ignore all that stuff because they're from software and then still give them a 10 out of 10. So I do think it's like a balance of the people who whine about how difficult it is and the people who just hand wave anything from software does wrong away as it's no big deal because it's from software. But let it be a different developer in a different game and they will, you know, scream it from the top of the top of their voice about how bad the performance is. So I think the 95 is still justified though, because there are those sides. There are the people who are given passes for certain things, and there are people who just really shouldn't be reviewing the game at all. But I'm enjoying it. I believe, as far as the main quest line of the DLC, I'm on the final boss. Um, I'm not, of course, I'm not going to talk spoilers on that part, but definitely had my jaw hit the floor with some of the reveals that they got going on in the story. But I do think this is in typical From Software fashion. The lore is fantastic, but the storytelling is still kind of like some of the main stuff awesome, right? And I'm just like, wow, so this is what was really happening. But then like there are things that go on and you're just like, well, wait, why is this person attacking me now? Like, what, what's happening here? Why are these people against me? Why is that person against them? What's happening? And it's just like the storytelling is all over the place. Multiple
Did you do
times.
any of the NPC quests?
I've done one in particular, and I do think that I do think some of the things that occurred. And I'm not going to get into details or like that. And this is just my theory. I think if you do those quest lines, there's certain people may not be aligned against you or maybe for you or whatever. But I do think that if you,
True.
I also kind of feel like if you beat the game, you're kind of like permanently on a certain side because you beat the game. And depending on how you beat the game and who you aligned with when you did it might determine some things. But I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I like the difficulty ramp up. I like how they incorporated a mechanism of kind of dealing with the additional damage that these enemies do. Because like even random mobs and enemies can clap you if you're not paying attention. They all do a lot of damage, but they don't necessarily all have like a ton of health either. So I thought that was a bit smart because a lot of times some developers feel like the idea of making a game more difficult is just giving the enemies a ton of health and doing a ton of damage with no changes to strategy, no changes to enemy AI. And I can tell you right now, these bosses, some of them light work, but some of these bosses, I mean, you get them down to like 10% health and they just like, oh, thank you. I appreciate you doing that. Now let me just spam this attack that's just like, how am I supposed to dodge this? It's just like it's you think it's over. No, it's not. It's like it's throwing like 4 or 5 different things at you, and then an AoE attack at the end. It's just like the amount of times it's twice I've beat a boss where we both died at the same time. Like I just barely beat that boss. And then multiple times with other bosses, I have got them down to like 1 HP. I even sent Luca a clip of like something that almost made me break my DualSense.
Oh, he was mad as hell.
I was just like, I cannot believe this guy has got like 0.333% health left and I'm dead. And I'm just like, I can't believe this. I did beat him like 5 attempts later, but still, I'm enjoying the difficulty. And I think it's just, there are people like From Software games are just popular now. And anything From Software does is popular now. And so there are people who are just hype beasts and they got to play everything that's popular. But this ain't really for them. It's not like, if you're complaining about how difficult it is, why are you playing a From Software game? Because that's the point. It's supposed to be hard. You're supposed to have to figure it out. You're supposed to have to try to download the boss. You're supposed to need to figure out the timing of when to dodge, when to try to parry, when to block, when to just forget everything and just run to the other side of the boss arena to get away from a certain attack. It's just like you need to figure those things out. And if you're not about that, then why are you even playing the game? It's crazy.
Yeah, for me, I just think that From Software gives players a lot of tools in order to be successful, and a lot of it has to do with just, I always tell new players this, it's about patience. You can't just run through the game, because if you do that, you're going to end up being very pissed and you're going to end up dying a lot unnecessarily. So it's about being patient. It's about exploring. It's about awaiting the right opportunities. And honestly speaking, it's about not allowing yourself to get frustrated to the point where you just start making stupid mistakes because of how frustrated you are. I've been saying this for years. Like, if you start feeling really angry as you're playing, just stop playing. Just turn the game off, come back to it later. And there are some people where it's like, if they see a boss and they're having difficulty with it, they'll just keep ramming their head against it until they beat it, even if it's 300 attempts later, and it makes them miserable, right, as they're playing. But for me, I'll try for a little bit and then I'm like, okay. And I'll give an example of that. So I found Mesmer pretty early. I was maybe like 2.5 hours in, 3 hours in, something like that. And I found Mesmer pretty early. So when I posted, I was like, oh, I just met Mesmer. People were like, really? Didn't you just start playing? I'm like, yes, I did. Like, you can find him pretty early if you are able to beat the bosses that so to speak, gatekeep him, right? So I find Mesmer, and immediately from the jump, boom, 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 he's super fast, right? Beating my ass. I'm like, oh, okay. So for the major bosses in this game, I decided that I wanted to fight them straight on. I didn't want to use any summons or anything like that, because when it comes to the other FromSoft games, one of my favorite aspects of the game was learning the boss patterns and like just sitting down, getting really invested in the boss, fighting them straight on, learning how they move, learning how to counter them, learning when the windows are to punish their attacks. Like, that was one of my favorite things to do. And for a lot of the base game, I was just like, ring, 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 with the fucking, with the mimic team. As soon as I found that goddamn mimic tier, me and the mimic tier were like best friends, dude. Like I fucking love the mimic tier, right? But for this, I wanted to have it be a little bit more organic and me go back to my roots, so to speak, right? Now, when I say this, and especially like with my little tirade earlier about the intelligence builds and the faith builds, I personally do not care how other people decide to play these games. It has nothing to do with me. If you want to use magic or faith for your first playthrough, go for it. If you want to use summons throughout the entirety of your first playthrough, go for it. I don't care. Like, it genuinely does not matter to me. How someone else plays a game has nothing to do with me unless they're like actively cheating. I don't know, but even then it depends, right? Like, because I turn on the cheats for Saints Row the Third, and I had a lot of fun with that. That shit was awesome, right? But it's like, for the most part, I don't care. Now, I am a fan. I'm a Souls diehard, essentially, but I find a lot of the Souls community to be quite annoying. Like, like, it's giving you're fucking losers, honestly speaking, because like, why do you care so much about how other people play this damn game? Like, you're not special for the way you choose to play the game, especially, and I say that mostly so it's like, if you're choosing to degrade people and talk down to people, like, I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't like the kind of the gatekeeping with the attempt of trying to make people feel bad, especially if people come through and they're being genuine in their feelings, right? So it's like, another example, I didn't play Sekiro when Sekiro dropped because I'm a fucking Destiny whore. Okay, I was a Destiny whore. I was playing Destiny, so I didn't play Sekiro when Sekiro dropped. And people were like, "Oh, you didn't play it because it was too hard, huh? You didn't play it because you suck, huh? You can't do anything." And then when I actually first started playing it a year later, I was like, "Can you guys give me some like general tips?" And then, "Get good, Luca. Get good, Luca." I'm like, "All right, cool, right?" So whatever, I got good. I posted clips of me beating the bosses. As soon as I start posting clips of me beating the bosses, well, actually, if you would try this, the boss is already dead. The boss is already dead. So why are you offering me tips now when the boss is already fucking dead? Where were you a couple days ago when I was like, "Can I get some general tips?" Like, I'm not saying how do you beat the boss. I said some general fucking tips, right? And these fucking cucks were like, "Good, good." I'm like, "Okay, that's okay." I got good. And I got good. Sekiro is actually my favorite of the FromSoft games in terms of gameplay. That is the game where I succeeded the most. Sekiro was the easiest FromSoft game for me because those kinds of mechanics, that parry system, the way you play that game is my preferred method of playing, right? So I had a fucking blast. Like, that shit was amazing. I had fun the entire fucking time. And I was like, this is great. I played it 4 more times. One after the other after the other. The game is fucking awesome. I love Sekiro. But it's like, the FromSoft community is full of try-hard cucks who try to make people feel bad and try to push people away instead of embracing people. Like, when I found out that there's people who hadn't beat Moog, it didn't even occur to me that there would be people who hadn't beat Moog, right? Because it's like, for me, the way I play these games is I try to go through as much as I can, right? I don't do any tedious shit. That's why I'm missing trophies for fucking Dark Souls 3. I'm at like a 84% or something. I'm missing some trophies because I'm not running around looking for fucking talismans. It's just not happening, right? I'm not looking for these spells. I'm not looking for these rings. It's just not happening, right? But like, I like to do the majority of the bosses. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was on New Game Plus 3 and I beat my head against the wall fighting fucking Madeir. And Dark Eater Madeir. And I was on a melee build, New Game Plus 3, Dark Eater Madeir. I need you guys, for those in the know, you know that I suck. I fucking suffered doing that shit, right? But like, for me, I was just surprised that some people hadn't beat Mog. And then I got a couple responses and it's just like, "Oh, we know what you really want to say, Luca. Get good. These people are losers," all this stuff. I'm like, I honestly, like, was just surprised. Like, I don't care. If you don't want to fight certain bosses, that's fine. But at the same time, the game's been out for 2 years now. So in order to access the DLC, you have to beat Mog, you have to beat Radon. Just go do it. Like, there's plenty of videos out there. There are plenty of people who are willing to help. Just summon them in, use your fucking summons, and just go through it. But the gatekeeping that's in the community, in which people try to like make new people feel bad for how they play. Like with the Kai situation, Kai beat Melania with like a bleed build, I believe, and some fucking cuck was all like, "Oh, look at him using the fucking rivers of blood." I'm just like, bro, he's new, he's a new player.
It's always going to be something because he didn't use any summons. He didn't like. I mean, he wasn't using like the best armor, and it's just like there's they had to complain about something. Oh, well, he's using a typical bleed build. He's using rivers of blood. And it's just like, what does he have to do? Does he need to go in and beat Millennia with no clothes on and a butter knife for you to be like, that was good job? It's just like some of these people, they're never going to just be fine with how other people play the game, which is like, if you want to play the game butt naked with loincloth and kitchen knives and then, you know, every now and then do a spell to take the rod off, that's you. That's how you want to play the game. Enjoy yourself. How other people want to play the game is on them. The thing is that like the way I feel like the balancing act of it all, because like you got people saying, oh, it's too difficult. I'm like, no, it's not. But part of the reason why I say it's not difficult is that like you have the options, not even just in boss fights, but in areas where there's like a large number of enemies that could like mob attack you, to pull out your summon, whether it be the Mimic Tier or Black Knife Tish or whoever the heck else. You have NPCs that will, you know, attack enemies in the game. And I think that the people out here that don't use NPCs for anything, I think they kind of miss out on some of the story aspects of it, of why a particular NPC will want to fight a particular boss.
I didn't even know, and quite slight spoilers, I didn't even know that there was an NPC summon for Mesmer. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the build that you went in with and what new game cycle you're on.
Okay, so yeah, I didn't do for this particular character. My main one isn't on New Game Plus. I got 4 characters. One's on New Game Plus. That's my Dex build. My strength build is the one I started the MP, good grief, the DLC with. I'll do the other 3 after I beat this and clear all the bosses that I want to clear. But my strength build was dual great swords with a heavy claymore plus 25 and a plus 10 blasphemous blade. And I'm using the armor of that one dude from the manor, you know, the silver and red armor with the cool looking helmet. So I've been wearing that. I haven't taken his armor off the whole time though. I love that armor, but I've actually been doing pretty well with that build in particular, but I was getting kind of bored, so I wanted to start using some of the other weapons. So I tried out the fist one, where you're just doing like the martial arts. That was okay, but it just wasn't for me. I tried out the hammer that people have been liking. It wasn't for me. Then I got the backhand blades, and I freaking love the backhand blades, but it's something that like it's likely more of a dexterity build kind of weapon, especially when you look at all the different affinities that you could put on it. They all seem to be in the dexterity area, but I saw that if I applied a fire affinity to it, it would go to a B grade for strength. And so I did that, and now it's just like I'm burning everybody up. And I just love the speed of the weapons, because you can it's one blade technically, but then you can switch it to 2. And like there's a particular the special ability of the weapon is like basically like Bloodhound Step, but then you add in a thrust at the end of it. So for me, it's like the way it just looks cool as hell, because like enemies will come up to me, and as soon as they attack, I'm like dodging, then cutting into them and just ripping them apart. Like the heavy attack isn't even like slower than the light attack. It's awesome, but I have found there have been cases where I've been like, yeah, I gotta go back to the, the tried and true. I gotta go back to my double great swords, because some of these enemies was slapping me around, and I just like I need that range that I get with the great swords sometimes. And so I think a lot of times, maybe it's just me, is for me it's about spacing and understanding the enemy and when to dodge and parry. I've been feeling that a lot more since playing the DLC, much more than in the base game, because unlike in the base game, and I've been using summons, here and there and all that, but like especially with the bosses, but like using the summons in the DLC is different than using the summons in the base game. In the base game, the bosses actually look at your summon. In the DLC, these DLC bosses just be like, yeah, that ain't even a real person. I don't care about them. I care about you. And they're just like, you have to learn how to dodge at the right time, when to take your shots and attack. And it's just like you bring a summon out if you want to. There's some bosses that just rush you. You try to pull your summon out, you're dead in 5 seconds. You can't rely on summons in the DLC. And maybe that is partially why some of the people are complaining about the difficulty, because the summons for them in the base game was a crutch. And in the DLC, you can't use that crutch. You're going to have to be able to beat these enemies yourself. So I guess but like I think I call it the fire backhand blades. I think those are awesome. I got some other weapons that I want to try out, and I'm basically just, how you can use runes to just upgrade them to plus 24 or plus 9 without having to use like the ancient dragon smithing stone. So I definitely want to use those on ones that I definitely want to keep and actually have a build for. But I'm just kind of experimenting at the moment with different builds. But my current favorite is the backhand blade. It's freaking awesome. And it's nice that the fact that like you can just go into, and this ain't really spoilers, like you can find this blade within like 5 minutes of starting the DLC. Just get on Torrid and just go east. And there's like a little gazebo or whatever, and it's just there. You can just get some weapons really early like that. So
okay. Well, shout out to Lionel with the dono. Appreciate you, Boo, saying the Souls community is so funny. If it's too easy, they will knock it like it's not good. If it's too hard, they cry for nerfs and quit. Yeah, they're a fun bunch. Erica just posted. She's like, so I said all that stuff, right? Apparently, the final boss of this DLC is like concerningly difficult, like to the point where she was like, yeah, they need to nerf it. I'm like, oh, and Erica's
really?
like,
she felt
she's a From Software girl, So I'm like, okay. Maybe what did she say exactly? I want to make sure I'm not taking her out of context. She said, hold on. Mm-hmm. She said, so that quotation marks crazy hardest boss ever y'all been hearing about on Shadow of the Erdtree. Yeah, they need to patch it. I'm like, okay. Damn, that bad? Oh, okay. I'm really curious then. I'm really, really interested to see how that goes for me. And then
I don't know if I agree with her quite yet. I have met that boss, and yeah.
Do you for sure know it's the final boss?
Based upon, I know what I can't say. I can't. Okay. I can't tell you that because I feel like it would be spoilers. But I do feel like it's the final boss. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe it's like a second phase or sort of, because there was this boss in Dark Souls 3 DLC. She had like 4 phases, which is egregious. That's egregious, right? Like 4 phases for a boss.
I ain't cool. Yeah. Like, just 4 phases is ridiculous. Freed,
4 fucking phases. So, damn, it was 4 phases, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3. Maybe it was 3. Maybe it was 3 phases. It was a 3-phase phase, I think. I think it was free. I don't fucking remember. I fucking hate that DLC. It was my least favorite one. But shout out to Yobi, member for 34 months, saying hashtag peace, love, life, Luca. Time to get me a new Scumcast hoodie. Oh, okay. I'll be making a purchase soon. Thank you. Appreciate you, Boo. Always. Lionel and Yobi always been so supportive. Thank you guys so much.
Hey, yo, Luca. I just talking about that reminds me. Remember that boss fight in Persona 5? It's the one in particular is that like you beat like a you beat like a palace boss, and then get like a surprise.
Oh yeah.
And then that boss had 4 phases, like 3 or 4 phases. I was like, when he got to the 3rd phase, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Because I was so mad because like I had ran out of like to beat that palace boss. I had run out of all my healing items. Everybody was dead tired. I needed like the Phantom Thieves to take a nap. They needed 5, right? And then this dude shows up, and it's just like, I gotta fight this guy with nothing basically. And getting to that 3rd phase, I was just like, he's still going, really? Like, I was frustrated. No, my bad. Go ahead and continue. I just popped in my head.
Yeah. No, you're good. So what is going on? Okay, sorry, I'm seeing more stuff about this Doctor Disrespect shit, dude. It's okay. So moving on from that. Yeah, so okay, so I'm happy to say this. I'm really proud of myself, guys. So I beat Mesmer. It took several times. I actually had to switch out from my Great Hammer, and I switched to the Bloodhound Claws, and I switched them to the Occult Affinity, and so that scales with Arcane, right? And so I used that, and I had the Crag Blade on them, and then like the typical buffs and stuff, right? And so I went to learn Mesmer's patterns and beat him without using a summon or without using my go-to handy mimic tier or anything like that. And I actually, for the most part, I learned his patterns. Now here's the thing. I was able to consistently get him down to 2nd phase without too much difficulty, right? And 2nd phase isn't too bad, but there's this one particular attack, again, spoilers, right? This one particular attack where I'm just like, how do you dodge that? Like, realistically speaking, how is that dodged? Like, I need to see somebody who knows how to dodge it so I can get an idea of how it's supposed to be dodged, because that move killed me multiple fucking times, right? But anyway, the attempt that I ran where I did finally beat him, he did not use that move. So I still don't know how to fucking dodge it, but he didn't use it on that attempt I played through. So he's done, and I'm really proud of myself for being able to beat him by myself and actually learning those patterns. That for me, that was just a really rewarding feeling, and a feeling that I'd been missing for quite some time. Because the reason why I play these games, I like these games because of the sense of challenge for me, and for the way that I feel like these games, for the most part, are tough but fair. Now, there are some boss design elements in Elden Ring where I'm like, now why would you do that? Like Melania, especially, her being able to heal herself and rot you, I was like, okay, this is a little much, right? But like, for the most part, I feel like their game design has been relatively fair. There are a couple of bosses here and there throughout all of their games where I'm just like, okay, what were y'all thinking with this, right? But for the most part, that's why I enjoy playing these games, for that challenge again. Now, so that's how it was for me. That's how I enjoyed it again. However, anybody else chooses to play the game, that's completely respectable. I has nothing to do with me. How other people play games has zero effect on me whatsoever. So, but for me, I was just happy I beat Mesmer. And then I actually got to that boss you had mentioned to me before, Slow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I'm probably near the final boss of the game too, the DLC as well. But I have to I'll have to see how that goes. And I'm very, very curious to see what everybody's been talking about. And if I can be like, no, they need to fucking nerf this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm very curious if that, like, if those words will come out of my mouth. So
I was thinking about it. I was like, actually, Elden Ring isn't the most difficult game I've played. Stellaris is probably the most difficult, but not in the same way. And I guess this also ties in if you need help. At least you could get help in Elden Ring, so utilize it, because there is no help. When someone comes around and destroys your planet, that's it. It's over. There's no saving it. There's no save scumming. There's no... there's nothing. It's just, oh, this is hard. I'm getting attacked from all sides, which is just another form of difficulty. But it's like, oh, I'll declare war on you. 3 people declare war on you. Now you're fighting 4 different wars. But there's no help. There is no nothing. You just have to rely on yourself. And if you die, you die. So, I mean,
Yeah. I don't even think that FromSoft games are the most difficult games to like exist in general. There are plenty of games that are much harder, in my opinion.
oh, a lot of these strategy games are.
hmm
You crank up the difficulty, the problem, because obviously, it's like you have an army. How do you keep your army supplied? You need food and resources, right? What happens if someone stops your food and resources? You ain't got an army. So guess what happens to you? You die. And that's just the end of the story. There is no help. There is no please save me. There is no guides. There isn't a guide to play the game. You literally jump in and you are at the mercy of your own skills. Because every game is randomly generated. So you can't make a guide. There's only do this, and hope for the best. So, it's like, okay, cool.
I actually find, because I've been playing Fire Emblem Three Houses again on the Switch, and I've been playing on the hardest difficulty in Classic, where if one of your people fall, that's it for them. They out.
Yep.
Forever. I actually find that more difficult than Erdtree, because it to equal parts, because I don't like anyone to die, so I try to avoid any of my troops dying. But then just the conditions of like the difficulty I'm playing on in Three Houses, where like the end of the battle kind of stuff with like the professor, your character, or the head of the house that you are aligned with, they can just fall easily with like one shot kills. It's just like, what the heck? Like, it's really hard. And then just adding to the fact you get less resources, less, you go into battle and you get less rewards of like certain materials that you need to repair your weapons. All the best weapons in the game I got are all broken. I got my troops basically fighting with like iron weapons and whatnot, because it's just like I'm trying to save the better weapons for when they really need it. And it's look, but that's what you ask for. Like, I put it on that difficulty for a reason. There are very few people that bought Elden Ring and didn't know what was what. Like, they may have heard, oh, these games are usually typically pretty hard, but you knew the reputation, you knew what was up. So it's just like anyone complaining about how hard it is when you spent your money. Like, it's like you, even if you didn't know, you should have did your own research to find out what you were getting into. I look at it no differently than someone buying a TV and then realizing the TV didn't have VRR. Well, why didn't you? If VRR was something that you absolutely needed and wanted with your next TV, why didn't you make sure it had VRR before you put your money down? That's on you. You go into Elden Ring and you are upset because it doesn't have difficulty settings, or it doesn't have accessibility settings, which is basically difficulty settings now, because a lot of the accessibility settings aren't strictly for helping people who have a disability. It's like, oh, hey, you want to just take the puzzles out? Sure. Just auto resolve all the puzzles. Hey, you want to make sure like these enemies are easy, but then make all the other enemies a little bit harder. Yeah, you can do that too. It's just like it's accessibility features have just gone, like, in my opinion, like crazy out there. But like, I think that's also kind of has had people believe that when they don't see any of that in this game. And I get people being upset from software for not doing basic stuff that everyone else does. Like, I think the way they do co-op is come on, like, it's 2024. Let's move it on, right? But then and of course, as I mentioned earlier, the optimization, the lack of optimization, is like they're not even trying to optimize their games. That's problematic. But game design stuff, like things that are actually what you expect from these kind of games. There are people who can't wait to play, like Luca, can't wait to play these kind of games because they want that challenge. You come here, you Johnny come lately, want to come in and change the way From Software does that aspect of their games, like the core foundation of their games. Nah, just go play something else, bro.
Erica just said this may be the end of my Souls journey. I ain't gonna lie. Oh Lord.
No, she's just going through it. That's all. That's in the moment. That's in the moment. You know, look. Remember when you was playing Returnal and you were in Biome 3 and you called me and you just said, "Slow mo, I'm a bum.
I am
garbage. I suck at games." I was just like, "What? Where is this coming from?" And it's just. You was getting curb stomped in one particular bomb, but you pushed through it and you beat the game. Like Erica just got pushed through it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so
she just sent me a message saying, "Help me, I'm old." I'm like, shoot, I'm older than you.
Context. So for Returnal, Biome 3, everybody who played Returnal knows Biome 3 is a fucking problem, right? But Biome 3 was really cucking me real bad, right? To the point where I was like tearing up. I was like, I suck so badly at these games. I suck at gaming. I was Lionel got me the game. I was like, Lionel, I'm gonna give you your money back. I don't even deserve to play this. Like, I was tripping. But anyway, I actually beat the game the next day. But hold up, Stinger. Let me get these super chats. Shout out to Lionel saying, in Shin Megami Tensei 4, they have a DLC boss that has a move that has a 30% chance to kill your party. He also spams it 4 times. If you don't do enough damage to him in a given time, he flat out kills you. Yeah, I've heard more about the Shin Megami Tensei series in terms of difficulty than anything else, honestly speaking. And shout out to me, Puppet, who's been a member for 40 months. Appreciate you, my guy. Okay, go ahead, Singer.
I saw Brian say, "Boy, back to RTS," but that's because Souls is difficult in what it does, but there's various forms of difficulty. In a shooter is testing your hand-eye coordination, right? If you are faster, you see someone before you, hear them, whatever, you pull the trigger sooner, you win, right? And your accuracy. But then strategy is it's not necessarily how many actions can you perform in a minute. It's more mental side of things. So how good are you at thinking? Can I outthink you is essentially at the end of the day what it is. It's the same principle in League of Legends. Sure, you can make some flashy plays, but it's not about how many actions you can perform in a minute. It's about, okay, can I bait you to do this? If I can bait you, then I can kill you. But if I don't bait you, but then if you counter my bait and then I die, and then you have to think of ways out of that situation. And then to top it all off, the AI is unforgiving as hell. The AI does not give a damn. If it sees an opening, the AI goes straight for it, and it doesn't care. It doesn't care. You could be like, "Oh, I want a peace treaty." It'll tell you to piss off. So you just have to. So it's another form of difficulty. That's why I bring it to that, because Souls isn't just one type of difficulty. It's only one type of difficulty.
Yeah. Silence is not good. So anyway, look.
Not me being muted. I was gonna say I have a lot of respect for people who are really good at shooters. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Okay. So anyway, we can just move on from the Shadow of the Erdtree because I do want to get back into it. So let's talk about Dr. Disrespect. So Dr. Disrespect, 4 years ago, he was banned off of Twitch, right? And they did not tell us the reason why he was banned off of Twitch. Okay. So I remember having a very specific conversation with the guys here in which I was like, it must be really bad if they're not going to tell us what he did, right? And he doesn't want to tell us what he did. So finally, after 4 years, a former okay, let's see here. Share this tab instead. Okay. After 4 years, a former Twitch stream staffer, that is, allegedly reveals the reason Dr. Disrespect was banned, right? And it's what you guys would assume if it's something that's so bad that no one's going to speak about it. Obviously, it has something to do with one of the top 3 sketchiest things someone can be accused of, right? The most popular sketchy thing someone can be accused of, and by popular, I mean there's a lot of people who have been proven to have done this shit, right? Is Dr. Disrespect has been accused of sexting a minor by a former Twitch staffer. Now, one of the things that I don't like when it comes to these kinds of allegations is that there's never any fucking proof. People come out, they'll drop the allegations, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but they'll drop the allegations and then everyone's suddenly calling you a predator. Everyone's suddenly calling you everything but a child of God, right? But like proof is never dropped. Proof is hardly ever dropped, right? So for this, I saw it. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it would make sense if that was the reason because he wouldn't tell anybody what the reason was, and Twitch wouldn't tell anyone what the reason was, right? So then Dr. Disrespect, he came out. He came out and he said, okay, so the person who came out and was Cody Connors saying he got banned because he got caught texting a minor. And the then existing Twitch Whisper products. He was then trying to meet up with her at TwitchCon. The powers that be read the message in plain text. Case closed, gangs. Jake Lucky said a former Twitch employee has come forward and stated that the alleged reason for Dr. Disrespect's permanent Twitch ban being for sexting a minor in the previous Twitch Whispers products. And then Dr. Disrespect responded to Jake saying, Jake, seriously, I get it. It's a hot topic, but this has been settled. No wrongdoing was acknowledged, and they paid out the whole contract. What does that sound like to you guys?
When someone says, it seems like he went into a legalese kind of explanation. And typically when people have done that, it's because it was their out. Like they did something. Maybe it is true what they're saying he did, but hey, legally I got away with it. And so they kind of rely on that. Usually if you didn't do something, especially if it's something that's seriously messed up, you're like, I'm not a that. I didn't do that. What they're saying, what this guy's saying I didn't happen. And it's like, especially if what Cody Connors is saying is made up, like just say that ain't the reason. Legally, we can't get into the reason, but I can tell you straight up, that ain't it. Like that's more definitive than no wrongdoing was acknowledged. Because, like Luca can call me old, but if I don't listen to her, I can say it wasn't acknowledged because I'm not paying attention to anything she's saying.
I don't know if that's like a good example because you are old, like by the definition.
That's the point.
Old, that's you.
Okay. Luca, that's the point.
Oh, okay. I wasn't paying attention.
I could be old, but if I don't acknowledge that you called me old, I can say that it's not acknowledged because I'm not acknowledging it. And so it's just like his explanation, if anything, has kind of flamed this out a little bit more because he did not, his response to this isn't strong enough to beat down the allegations.
Well, it's also like this. It's like if he comes out and says, "Oh, that's a lie. It's not true," then someone can come out and be like, "Well, here's the actual proof." Someone could break NDA, whatever it was that kept people from saying anything for the last 4 years or whatever. Mm-hmm. They could be like, "Actually, this is true." So it, in a sense, it does makes him look bad already. But if he came out and said, "I didn't do this,"
sorry, thank you, Equal. He actually did just do a few hours ago what I said he should have said initially. I'll read out what he said. He said, listen, I'm obviously tied to legal obligations from the settlement with Twitch, but I just need to say what I can say since this is the fucking internet. I didn't do anything wrong. All of this has been probed and settled. Nothing illegal. No wrongdoing was found, and I was paid. Elden Ring Monday.
So what do you think?
So why would you kick? Here's the thing, right? yes, you're tied to a legal obligation from the settlement. Something happened. You did something for Twitch to kick you off, and until people find out what he did to be permanently banned from Twitch, this is never going away. Not necessarily the allegations of him sexting a minor, but just this entire situation will never end until people know what happened. Is it anyone's business? No. But you're a public figure, and so people make it their business. Because when we know what Twitch has been, where we got white people saying the N-word and getting a slap on the wrist, where we got a woman doing a handstand and letting her pet lick her crotch area and got a slap on the wrist, when we got people out here actually showing TNA, quote unquote, accidentally slap on the wrist, when he himself went to a public gaming event live on his Twitch channel and went into a public bathroom and filmed people in the bathroom. It was an accident, but he's still stupid and he still did it anyway. And he didn't get permanently banned for that, and now out of nowhere you're permanently banned. You had to have done something pretty bad for them to be like, yeah, we just can't deal with you no more. Because when we clearly know that Twitch has very few morals whatsoever, that they are as fine with any of their bigger,
a lot of money.
Exactly. You're bringing in them a ton of money, but much smaller content creators than him have been let go because they also are bringing in money, but not as much money as he was bringing in. What did you do for them to look at how much money you're bringing in and say, yeah, we can live without that?
My thing is,
I was just thinking, I was like, so he sued Twitch, right? He had a court battle with Twitch, and that's why he's getting paid his whole contract, right? So the relationship between them clearly isn't good, because if the relationship was good between them, he wouldn't have taken them to court. They would have settled it behind the scenes, right? So something must have happened between the two parties, the allegations or something, and then maybe it just soured, and then they permanently banned him because he went off the rails, and then he's like, right, fuck you, give me my money for my whole contract, and I'm off to go. Because wherever he goes, he's going to bring in the money, so if it's a rival platform to Twitch, or he might even make his own platform, who knows? I mean, he's probably big enough to do that, so I mean, that probably is why he's permanently banned, but I mean, it could be something insidious, of course.
But the thing is that there've been some pretty bad stuff that people have done, Twitch content creators, with contracts too, with Twitch, and they're still working with Twitch.
Has any of them taken them to court and whatnot, and just totally?
Well, he only took them to court because they permanently banned him. So there was like the permanent ban came before he took him to court because he wanted to get his money off his contract, which I understand, right? But like for them to permanently ban him, that issue isn't going to go away. And whether he sued them or not, I mean, well, he definitely sued them, but like he sued them for the money. He didn't sue them to get back on the platform. He wouldn't have took his talents to YouTube.
He's got other plans. So probably, I don't know. Maybe before he got banned, they had a falling out. I don't know. Who knows what happened?
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. Whatever happened had to have been really bad.
Right.
It had to have been really bad. And like, if he got banned, then the assumption would be that it was something he did, right? So,
right.
What did he do? And what did he say? He said, I didn't do anything wrong. Okay, so depending on the state, I don't think meeting up with a minor is illegal, depending on the state. So you know what do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
hold on real quick. You guys remember that black dude? Who was that black guy that got banned off of YouTube? and the video was on YouTube of him trying to meet a
EDP?
minor. Yeah, EDP. EDP didn't go to jail for that. He got banned off of YouTube for what he did. He didn't go to jail. And even then, he tried to get back on. He tried to appeal to get back on YouTube. He tried to do all kinds of other stuff. Like, that dude was straight up he caught on camera begging them not to put the video out there and admitting everything that he was doing. And he didn't go to jail for that. So I know people keep bringing up like the legality of things and like what Twitch is supposed to divulge and whatnot. But like part of the reason why EDP didn't get convicted for that is how he was quote unquote entrapped and how the video had gone out and it kind of like it. I don't know all the legalese
They
about
also
it.
didn't get the police involved, so
Right, and so
they were
depending,
vigilantes.
yeah, so depending on how it all went down, like you ask, I've seen EDP try to gaslight people into thinking he did nothing wrong too. So Dr. Disrespect had to do something to get permanently banned from a company and a platform that tries its best to look the other way to keep you in line and to keep you making the money. He had to have done something.
Yeah. So so technically, I'm not defending this, right? But I'm saying, like, legally speaking, the age of consent is different in every state, right? And like, depending on how someone may or may not go about doing something will determine whether or not they'll be arrested for it. Whether this is like a civil case, not a criminal one, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, guys. Like, at the end of the day, I am someone who 100% believes in proof. You are, in my opinion, innocent until proven guilty, or until I see enough where I can definitively say, like, okay, this person definitely did that shit, right?
Mhm.
Now, I think it's probable that he did it just based on how weird this entire situation is. But at the same time, we don't know for sure. And until we know for sure, no one can reasonably put a label on him of him. And also it's like minor, that's a large range. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's a large range. So
He's like in his 40s now or something.
mhm.
If the girl was like 17 but turning 18 in 2 days, that's different than
from meeting up with like a
13-year-old.
13-year-old. You know what
Right,
I'm
that's
saying?
different.
So
Yeah.
what kind of minor is it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What exactly is going on here? So we don't fucking know anything. This dude, Caleb Clark Cobb, I don't know what his name is, but whatever his name is, who dropped the information, didn't drop any proof.
Right.
And so we just don't fucking know. Now, are people going to clown on him forever? Yes. Once these allegations hit, you're cooked, man. I'm sorry to say it, but it is guilty until proven innocent on the internet. You get called a pedo, you're a fucking pedo to people. People are going to keep calling you that until it is definitively proven otherwise. And even then, there will still be people who believe the worst in you.
Right. The dude Connor, whatever his name is, that dropped this bomb, should have dropped it with actual proof of what he was saying. Then that throws out all the defenses, all the defenders of Dr. Disrespect. It throws out any doubt of what really happened. And then it gets down to just allowing people to make the decision to engage with this guy even further, as you used to or not. But he didn't. And I think that at some point that has to happen, even if it comes from Dr. Disrespect himself. If there is any kind of whispers, because that's what, like, for those who don't know Twitch, whispers is like DMs. Like you send someone a whisper, it's a direct message between two people on Twitch. If that's what, if there were some whispers that were a topic of discussion between Twitch employees and Dr. Disrespect, if you ain't doing anything wrong, go ahead and just send it. Go ahead and show everyone what you did. or tell, like, clearly if you went to court over this, you got, like, he's not on Twitch anymore, but you got the actual, like, evidence of what's what. Maybe in his mind he thinks it's been exaggerated what Connor said, and I wasn't sexting a minor. I was talking to a fan who said they wanted to see me at TwitchCon, and I said, bet, I'll see you at TwitchCon. I got a booth and everything. Everybody's going to have a great time. And come to find out, the person that they spoke to was 14 years old.
That doesn't, I mean, okay.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find a way to kind of make it sense. Yeah.
Depending on the language, if like, I'd be like, if it was like that, I'd be like, come on, be serious. We didn't even say anything, right? Like, you know, like, it's like, oh, cool. You know, if you want to, it really depends on what was said. If that's the case, you know,
and that's the point. What was said? Because if he knew the person was a minor or not, and maybe it's like, I'm just trying to figure out, like, how he would just say, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, if she was flirting with him and he flirted back, but come to find out she's 16, whoops. But if it was like, hey, you know, I'm 16. He's like, hey, I don't care. Yeah. You know, here's a picture of my junk. Yeah. Now let's freaking burn this guy at the stake. Right. But it's just, there's so much information that we just don't know about what's going on. And the only way it gets cleared up is either by Twitch or Dr. Disrespect themselves. Twitch comes out, makes a statement. Shout out to Cassie in the chat. I think she's right. She said Twitch should do their due diligence and letting people know if he really is a predator. Allow younger people like Dr. Disrespect. So, like, you if that's what he is, like, one, bad on them for sitting on that information for 4 years since this happened.
Like, if he actually sent something, they have a legal obligation to report him. So I don't think he sent any, like, let's fucking hope he didn't send anything that could be on that scale, like sending nudes to minors and stuff. But, well, like,
all of his, if there was something though, wouldn't, like, all the, like, brands and sponsorships, whenever this always comes out, they always drop the person they're with, right?
Now, back then they were not dropping people like they drop people now back then.
Yeah, so, but if this came out now, so if they don't drop him, then clearly, I don't know. Maybe if some people say, oh, you know, we're no longer fucking with Dr. Disrespect because this came out, or whatever, or I don't know, like, because now when you do something really bad, you notice everyone, like, all the brands, like what happened with Diddy, all the revolt drop Diddy. And all, I mean,
there's a lot of stuff that came out about Diddy, though. Like, there was proof that came out with Diddy. You know what I'm saying?
Like, so people all the companies like to distance themselves away from this. So if the companies don't distance themselves away from him, and they just keep it riding as it's going, then I don't know. It's like,
I mean, that doesn't really say anything because, again, like, they didn't drop any proof. So why would the companies distance themselves if there's no proof?
Right.
So it's like, if there was proof and then the companies continue to not distance themselves, then okay. But, like, there's no proof. Like, Cody just came out and said, this is what happened. And then a couple of, like, other well-respected people came out and said that this is what I heard had happened. But, like, no one has dropped any fucking proof. So as far as I'm concerned, until proof is dropped, I'm not going to put that kind of label on him, because that is a very dangerous fucking label to put on someone without any fucking proof.
Yeah, if I recall, back in 2020, there was no inkling of, like, even though people were probing like crazy, no one spoke on why he got banned. People just assumed it must have been really bad, but that's not, like, grounds for a sponsor to drop their contract with him just because they think it's bad, but they don't know anything. And he's not saying anything, and Twitch isn't saying anything. There was nothing to be said. And then within a week, he's going live on YouTube to like 500,000 people. So it's he pivoted very fast, kept the money train going. What can you do? What can you say at that point? And if you're like these other companies, they're not exactly any way morally better than Twitch is. This guy is going live within 5 days on YouTube, and he's going to talk about my products, or he's going to drink my nasty energy drink while he's ranting about video games on screen. I don't care. They don't care, and they don't have any information to drop him. And the only reason they would drop him is if he's going to start costing me money. Because if he did something that was bad, maybe not as bad as what has been alleged, but he did something that was bad. But then, hey, maybe his core audience is with it. Oh, he smashed a Twitch employee, even though he's married. Well, hey, Dr. Disrespect's cool. Like, we don't know, right? But I don't, just because people didn't drop him then doesn't mean anything to me now. I think, like, yeah, a lot of those sponsors are probably paying attention more now than then, because now there is a accusation out there. There's a leaning towards what may have happened, whether it's true or not. And as we saw with like plenty of the famous people, whether they be actors, musicians, entertainers, whatever, at that point, you can see people distance themselves away. Like, it wouldn't surprise me over the next week you find out that he lost like half his sponsors because you got that kind of label on you. Yeah, I don't want to be a part of that.
Also, Twitch is kind of suspect in itself, so you don't know why he was banned. Because Pokemon, who is really, really popular, left the platform, severed all ties with Twitch, and like one of her main reasons is, as she said on her podcast, so she came out and talked about it, I'm personally done with Twitch's messy behavior, in the sense that I'm not done with Twitch, but I'm done with being emotionally invested in the changes that this company is doing and all the bullshit that goes on in the background. So I think Twitch, there's something going on with Twitch in this situation as well as Dr. Disrespect. Because I've noticed now quite a few of the big Twitch streamers are leaving the platform. So there's something going on with Twitch as well.
There's been stuff going on with Twitch for years. I'm a Twitch affiliate, so I get these emails. Even though I haven't been like consistently going live on Twitch in years, but I still get emails that kind of talking about stuff that's going on, and then I also hear like how from like Twitch like partners about certain things. So like an affiliate gets less of a revenue split for ads and whatnot, and even like the gems. I forgot how all that stuff's called. All the various ways that you can make money on Twitch, you get a percentage of that goes to you, and a percentage of that goes to Twitch, and partners have better split. But then they started to kind of like do some tomfoolery with the way the splits work, and they took a percentage back from what partners were getting, and then like it essentially added, if I got this correctly, they gave a better split to like the top performers on the platform, and or basically to make them good, so they don't complain. But your regular Twitch partner, who may average like 80 to 100 people watching live on their channel, they're getting the short end of the stick. But they're not big enough to make these kind of complaints to really move the needle towards Twitch being pressured to reverse some of the things that they did. They made sure that the top people were good, so there would be nothing they would complain about, because they didn't want a Pokemon or Myth or whoever, or Shroud, complaining about, getting less money. So it's been issues like that, in addition to the double standards. Like if you're a Twitch affiliate, not even affiliated, you have a nip slip in the middle of your stream because you were changing your shirt, or you're taking your shirt off or whatever, but you had like an undershirt under it, but you let something out. I've seen people get their channel shut down midstream. Didn't even wait for them to finish their stream. They sent them an email saying you're going to be suspended for a few days. shut down, you're out. That fast. But then you see the double standard when the same thing happens with freaking Alinity, and she gets like a
Yeah, she's
slap on the
definitely
wrist.
fucking weird, dude. Too.
Yeah. 2 or 3 days suspension, and she's back before the weekend. It's Twitch is they're terrible. And
They really. Oh, go on.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say she also further elaborated. She heavily criticized because apparently they did recent rule changes. The management of partnerships for the past couple of years have been absolutely horrible. Their moderation has been awful, and their marketing has been terrible. And that also goes to some of the rumors that like some of the people at Twitch are kind of sus, especially when it comes to the female streamers. And
yeah,
that's been a thing for years and years and years. So, I mean, I don't know. Twitch's ban policy is really weird right now, according to her, as you said, because they changed it. And it takes them ages to do anything, is another criticism of them, even if something's wrong. So, I mean, they could have got behind the scenes and had an argument and they decided to ban him. I don't know. Maybe he called out the CEO of Twitch out by name and full on roasted him in the DMs. Who knows?
yeah. You know what? That's definitely a possibility too. You know, it's a personal vendetta on why they permanently banned them.
Yeah,
By
I would
somebody
believe
so
that
high up. You know,
I
that
would,
you can make that
I would
happen.
believe that if there weren't other people who were not affiliated with Twitch who had come out and said I heard something similar. So
Yeah, I did see a
just
video. A video
I
about
don't know.
that.
I mean, at the end of the day, again, we don't have any proof. So until there's any proof, I'm going to just go with I don't know, and I will not put that label on someone without any proof. So shout out to me, Puppet, saying this. That's why, in my opinion, you got to keep another person with you at all times as much as possible to keep things above board. So yeah, I mean, I definitely. My thing is like, if he had like had like I said this to Slomo earlier. I was like, if he had like an NDA in place or something that kept people from talking about this, I'm like, he should have had that shit for like 10 years or something. Because like 4 years, it's kind of like, well, you know, it's kind of still fresh in people's mind. Like, oh yeah, I do remember when Dr. Disrespect got banned off Twitch, right? But like 10 years, it'd be like,
No
okay,
one's gonna care at
like,
that point.
bro, it's been 10 years. Okay, cool. And then like no proof. All right. And then like also, this isn't directly related, but the fact that like Kendrick Lamar just dropped the calling out pedophiles anthem this year, like a month ago. People are like remixing Dr. Disrespect's name and the whole they not like the not like us song. Like it's just bad timing as well. So
Yeah,
it could be a personal vendetta, but at the end of the day, I think that if you are lying about something like this, you are a very vile person because there are real and actual predators out there. But also at the same time, if he did do that shit, then like just I don't get it, man. Just stop messaging minors. You know, I don't understand the appeal of when you're rich and famous and you have all the money in the world. Why are you messaging like a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old? You know, I
When
mean,
you could be
clearly,
messaging models all from around the world, you know, you see that girl on the front of like one of those women on the front of the latest and Summers or whatever magazine. You could be like hit her up in the DMs and be like, "Hey, yo, you wanna, go out on a date?" And she'll be
yeah,
right up for
like
it. I mean,
I
like,
understand that if you're attracted to kids, attracted to teenagers, attracted to minors, I understand that's like a sickness. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, why would you ever risk your reputation and freedom for like this thing inside of you that I guess you can't fucking control, you know? People like you're not special. You're gonna get caught eventually. It may take 30 years like it did with fucking Diddy, but the truth will come out.
or even longer with Bill Cosby.
Or even longer with Bill
eh,
Cosby, you know? The truth will come out eventually. So, but at the same time, that being said,
Or
I
R.
have
Kelly.
never heard like an inkling about Dr. Disrespect and these kinds of allegations. But it's like when I was younger, I heard about R. Kelly. I knew that P. Diddy was a fucking freak. And then someone had made a joke about um Bill Cosby. Someone also made a comment about staying away from Harvey Weinstein. Like, there are people who will make comments, right? But I've never heard anyone make this kind of comment or a joke or an allegation or anything of the sort like this about Dr. Disrespect. Again, the whole him being banned and us not knowing what the reason was for was sketchy in itself. But like, have either of you ever heard an inkling of this kind of allegation before
No.
yesterday?
No, the only two things that I knew of that he had done that he had admitted to that he was wrong in doing was, as I mentioned earlier, the going live from a public bathroom.
He also
Which,
cheated on his wife. Yeah.
yeah, and that's the other one. Yeah, he cheated on his wife, and so he admitted to those two things. Outside of that, I mean, it's just mostly just things that I've heard about him, just people who just don't like him for whatever reason. I haven't heard anything along these lines, and you're right. Like when I was a teenager, I heard about R. Kelly. I knew what R. Kelly was like. I knew that, like, people were saying that he was married to Aaliyah, and all you had to do was look at like BET, and see them interview together, and why are they wearing matching outfits? Why are they so close to each other? Just like they look like a couple. Like it's pretty obvious. And then, we've heard about Diddy's parties for years. We've heard all kinds of things. People about when it came to Bill Cosby, all these people came out. Like first, it was a comedian who said it publicly that really set everything off. But there were people who were prominent in the entertainment industry that said that, oh, when I was coming up, I was told to never be alone with Bill Cosby. Like, there's nothing like that happening right now. I'm not seeing anybody saying, outside of other former Twitch employees saying, yeah, I heard the same thing as Lucas said, but there's no one that's like not affiliated with Twitch. That's all like, yeah, Dr. Disrespect sent me a dick pic when I was 14. There's no one saying that, like, who is this person, this minor that he apparently was sexing? They're not coming out and saying, yeah, I'm the minor. Like, there's a lack of circumstantial evidence that to kind of collaborate what's being told is happened, and it's just, yeah, that was interesting. So
yeah. So I mean, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, these people are. Oh, hey, Cassie, how's it going, girly pop? Damn, did I really say girly pop? What's going on, Luca? I've been saying what's going on, Luca, the last 2 days playing this fucking game and getting my ass kicked by fucking Mesmer. I'm like, damn, Lou, what are you doing? Like, dodge, okay? Fucking dodge, So, but anyway, let me go ahead.
Amon, I was not a teenager 35 years ago. Okay, just get that straight. Okay, go ahead, yeah. Luca.
Okay, so sorry guys, I fucking forgot to drop. Oh my god. Oh, I'm not doing a stream next week because I'm going out of town. So, no show next week. And let's pray that nothing interesting happens, so I'm not missing out on the goodness, So, I hope I see you guys in 2 weeks. I hope y'all show up. I guess we'll see.
Nothing interesting is going to happen until July.
I fucking hope so, Slow-Mo. I fucking hope so. But anyway, go ahead.
I mean, any given Tuesday or something, Sony and Microsoft could just pop something out. So who knows? Like, remember, a lot of the stories that come out just happen randomly out of nowhere, like on a random Monday. And everyone's like, hang on a minute. And it's like, so who knows? Who knows? Something could happen. With the way the industry is right now, anything can happen and probably will. So, I mean,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, some big things happening next month. You'll see.
I hope so. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna miss you guys too. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. I'm just so proud of myself, and I really appreciate you guys and all the love and support. I just and shout out to MJ. He gifted me Shadow of the Erdtree, so I appreciate that too. And yeah, guys, let's you know, I would not be doing this without you guys. I'm just surprised that there are people who are actually interested in what I have to say still to this day, I guess you could say. Like, still kind of weird to me that there are people who support me. You know what I'm saying? Like people who are like, "Hey, how are you feeling? I hope you're doing okay." You know, it's kind of weird, but it's nice too. And so I appreciate you guys hanging out
It's
with us.
weird that people care.
Yes. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And thanks to Slow-Mo and Singer for hanging out with me all the time. Appreciate you guys for taking time out of your day to spend time with us here and contribute to my platform. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I wish I could give you guys like a big hug. I wish we could do like a small convention together, you know? But like, I'd also be afraid of who might show up in the sense that I am a woman. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. You know? You get what I'm saying?
According to what Slow-Mo said last week, don't worry, he'll protect you.
Who?
What Slow-Mo said. Remember when I said about tripping him up? And he said he'd be able to dart around? Hey, Slow-Mo's got you back, don't worry.
Yeah.
It would be crazy to meet Slow-Mo in real life because I'm 4'11" and he's like 7 foot tall. So
6'4".
that's basically the same
but
thing.
I'm about to say, but to you, that's like the same thing.
That's basically the same thing. So.
You're like 7 foot, say 8, 9, you know, whatever.
I know what's gonna happen. It's like, oh, Slow-Mo, is that your child?
I know. Oh, no. I do have a baby face too. So.
Oh yeah, that would
no, literally, Cassie.
That would be hilarious. Think about it. Oh man.
Yeah, so I'm extremely short, and I'll be like, oh my god, I'd be like, yeah, this is my dad, and people would believe it.
No, they wouldn't. Oh. They would not. Look.
We are both light skinned. I'm just saying.
I don't look old enough to have an adult child.
I don't look like an adult.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it. I don't look old enough to I do have a teenage child now. Damn, never mind. But I don't look my age, so whatever. We'll see.
All right. But anyway, guys, I will catch you in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully something really compelling and interesting happens for a July 6th show. And I don't know, maybe I'll bring something with me so we can make something happen. Maybe I'll just be doing a live stream off my phone. I'm like, hey, this guy's is so ghetto. You guys can see me the entire time. So I don't know. I guess I'll let you guys know how I'm feeling, and if I decide to do something like that. But how fun would that be to just see me the entire stream, but I'm in like a random place? I don't know.
Depends on where you are.
Mm.
Oh, okay. As long as it's not too loud, right?
Were you going to a concert?
I am going to a concert next week, yes.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Why?
Be music in the background. You're screaming into your phone. So, our topics today. And it's just like, random people around you screaming and fainting and whatnot. I don't know.
Fainting? Oh, okay.
Who are you going to see?
I will let you know off stream.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys. I'll catch y'all later. You guys want to say peace?
Oh, bye.
Oh, bye.
Enjoy your games.
Yeah.
Those who actually game and aren't just console warring.
Yeah. Bye.